Welcome back to your daily dose. You all know Susan, and by now, maybe you know a little bit about Linda Cochran, my aunt. And we were talking about all things day one. And one thing that, we came into this, it's called, turning Parkinson's disease inside out, right? You have the affiliation with my dad having Parkinson's. Is there anyone else in your life that has Parkinson's?
Um, we had a friend who's passed from Parkinson's, very dear person who was a doctor and a extremely kind man. And he didn't get his diagnosis till I think he was in his 70s. And then he declined rapidly. Um, yeah.
Well, the reason I bring it up is, a lot of people from the outside, they might hear about this and think, okay, well, I can only take this class if I'm a person with Parkinson's. And your experience has been quite different. Number one, you don't personally have it. And number two, I hope I should say it's manifested. You've seen, you don't need to be writing about Parkinson's, right? That it all comes up somehow within what we do. What has been your experience and maybe where you started knowing what you knew about the class and the freedom to write what you have and explore the unexplored or what you weren't sure you were going to get into.
What? I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm sorry, my
So
mind went.
when you started
Mhm.
there, let's start there. The class, turning Parkinson's inside out, and we talked, and I think there was a little hesitation. You're like, okay, what am I going to do? What were your initial thoughts about what I'm going to write or what I'm supposed to write when we began?
Well, I hoped that I had some valuable contribution in my knowing of my brother having Parkinson's mostly. That I also knew that it wasn't limited to that, and this is not to make Parkinson's small in any way, but I think you could take any any affliction or challenge and use this hero's journey and this inside out, and anyone can go to their wall and go in the cave and come out, because it's just it's the nature of life. It's this invitation to go deeper.
That's perfect. And so, what I was going to ask you, I mean, you've had a lot of journeys in your life, but one of the chronic illnesses you dealt with is with your son with Asperger's. I mean, could you see this working in that same regard? Because you mentioned the universality of it. Could you see this working with the community, either with people with Asperger's and or their family and friends, all of them to explore the story that doesn't necessarily end up having to be about Asperger's, but empowers the community to tell their humanistic stories. Could you see it working in that regard?
Oh, I really could. I could. Of course, there's, in that autism spectrum, there's so many ranges of what a person can do or is comfortable doing, but it's rich with possibilities.
And and what I wanted to yes and there, Susan, sorry, real quick back to you, Susan.
Yeah.
Here's Linda, someone without Parkinson's. What does it mean to you, a person with Parkinson's, when you see someone exploring a non-Parkinson's issue within this class?
The steps of the hero's journey are so universal that as uh, someone that Lucy, someone that Linda is writing about named Lucy, um, I learned lessons through Lucy. I learned lessons with other members of our class. And you're right, both of you. The Parkinson's piece of it works great, and it's not limited. This realm is not limited to that.
You, as a person with Parkinson's, are not just Parkinson's, right, Susan?
Right.
I
And
think that's really important as a declaration, right? Anybody who has a chronic illness doesn't want to be seen as that thing, and they don't want to be pitied as that. So, the humanistic element, this is a reclamation of self, the hero's journey in some way, to recognize the truth of whatever the thing is. Yes, and there's more going on here.
and we don't talk about this aspect of it very often. It's also it is really valuable. It doesn't need to be Parkinson's, but if you have Parkinson's and you're in a nice steady state like I am, well managed, under control at DBS, and it worked really well. It's very sobering for me to come to class and to see people with, and to the jam, to see the wide range of places this can go. And I don't know what that's going to be, but it's one of the reasons the jam is so important to me, because you train us, you teach us through fun to experience things that help as the Parkinson's goes further, if it goes further. Uh, yeah, I just got a note handed to me.
Oh, all good. Well, we're at 5 minutes anyway. This is the dose. Hang tight for just a moment. We'll see you on the next dose.